What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today I'm going to talk to you about the fountain pen essentials, must-haves, all of the things, including fountain pens. Duh. Why? Because I want to, and I'm procrastinating doing my homework because I have 77 pages to read about anatomy and physiology, which ironically is one of my favorite classes. Well, they're two different classes, but one of my favorites. But they're very dense and a lot to remember. And physiology is complicated. Also, I skinned my elbow, you guys. Ouch, I'm falling apart. But what's not falling apart is the mass load of stuff that I have on my desk. So, no further shenanigans. Let's get into it, shall we? So, these are in no particular order, but when I was thinking about some essentials that I have to have and highly recommend that you have, to be fair, most of these you probably have. In fact, one of them you have to have, otherwise you can't use fountain pens. So obviously the first essential to a fountain pen is the fountain pen. That's not actually on my list, but it's just something super, super quick. So you obviously need a fountain pen. If you don't know what a fountain pen is, check out some of my other earlier videos. I'm guessing that if you're watching this video, you already know what a fountain pen at least is, and you want to know what you should get. So this is obviously a pen by Benu. If you checked my last video, I unboxed this, inked it up for the first time, and we try it out. It is glorious. Love her. And then I also have another pen here, but I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so what's the real first essential when you get a fountain pen? Well, for the most part, when you get one, unless you're buying like a vacuum fill or a piston, more often than not, especially if it's like early on in your fountain pen life, you're probably buying a cartridge converter fountain pen, in which case most pens come with a single cartridge for you to use, so you can pop and play right away. But once you empty out said cartridge, you need more ink. And that, my friends, is essential number one. So I have 4 inks here that I've talked about ad nauseum for all of you guys. One of my most expensive inks, of course, one of my favorites, James Purdy & Son Single Malt. It is a scented ink. It smells delicious. And she's almost gone, but don't fret. I have another bottle. It did leak on me, so you can see some dried up ink there. But it's okay. She's okay. Didn't get in the box. I think it was just a little bit of gunk that got stuck. Yeah, see? That got stuck to the bottle the last time I opened it up. So I don't think it fully actually leaked, but a good thing to keep an eye on. I've had this bottle for years. All right. Another one of my inky obsessions, Diamine Polar Glow. And we are quickly approaching the season where I bust this bad boy out. This is one of my all-time favorites for the holiday season. It is a dark blue with a super intense red sheen if you get it into a wet writer. And it cleans out really well. I mean, just look at how it comes off the bottle. There's no sticking, no nothing. Glorious. 10 out of 10. Recommend. If you want a blue, but you don't want really that kind of red sheen, unless you're putting it into a crazy fire hose, then I would recommend picking up Pilot Iroshizuku Tsukio. It is a darker blue, kind of a blue-black, but leans more on the blue side than the black. This is my second bottle of this bad boy. I love her. She's amazing. And then the last one I'm going to talk about really quickly is if you don't want a blue or an orange, get a red. This one is Diamine Writer's Blood. It is one of my favorites. This is an 80 ml bottle. I'm about a third of the way through. It is just stunning. It's sort of like a Merlot color that does get a red-ish sheen to it if you, again, have it in a gold-ish sheen if you have it in a crazy, crazy wet fountain pen with appropriate paper. Okay, along the same lines as ink, technically because this is ink, but I have it in a second subcategory of ink, and that is ink samples. This I've had for a billion years, um, and I think ink samples are the goat. And why do I think that? Because you can try out so many different inks. Inks can get pretty expensive. I mean, ink bottles usually range anywhere from like $8 to, you know, 50. Um, so ink can add up very quickly, and it takes up a lot of space. I mean, it doesn't look like it would, but try getting like 50 of these bottles together, you know what I mean? Versus like 50 ink samples. So you can try out a ton of different inks that you would normally not probably want. And then I just usually swab it on paper and tape it to the top. It's not a perfect system, but this way I can kind of see from a glance what I'm looking at. 10 out of 10 recommend ink samples. They are amazing. Depending on where you get them from, you'll get anywhere from 2 to 4 milliliters of said ink. It wants to focus on my face. I absolutely adore it, especially for somebody like myself who diagnostically does not have ADD. I know. Uh, but I change my inks a lot. I get very bored of the same color and I change them quite frequently. So ink samples are amazeballs for me. But also just in general, sometimes if you get the vials, you can get them like empty vials. So that way you can also decant your ink from the bottle when it starts to get pretty low and it starts to become a pain in the tuchus to actually get said ink out of it. So, essential number 1, ink. Essential number 1.5, ink samples. Next is sort of cleaning supplies. So, I have 3 here. I have a traditional blunt tip syringe. So, this is basically looks like a needle, but don't get scared because it's a blunt tip. So, it's not going to hurt you. It's got no point. It's just a hollow tube. This is great also for sucking up, the last little bits of ink from whatever container you've got it in. But you can also fill this up with water and then flush your pen out super, super quickly. So blunt tip syringes, dynamite. In that vein, I don't know what that's going to sound like. Bulb syringes, snot suckers, whatever you want to call these, you can get them basically anywhere. These are really great as well. You suck this up full of water, you stick it in the back end of a fountain pen, and you just flush it right out. You can basically triple or reduce your cleaning time by threefold. It's really great. And then something random, this little guy. So this is, ow, my elbow. This is honestly just a strip of black leather. You can get them from fountain pen suppliers. Did I say leather? I meant rubber. Or you can get it from an inner tube of a bike. You can just do whatever. It's just rubber. You could use an elastic band if you got a big one. This is really great for if you're removing nibs and feeds from your fountain pen. Then you can pull it right out and you're good to go. It gives you the grip that you need to do it safely. I'll also use them to open up lids for ink bottles that have crusted over and become really annoying. So you need them. Another essential is some form of a case, sleeve, whatever. Eventually, if you're in this hobby long enough, you're going to get pens that you want to protect. This one happens to be a Franklin Christoph Model 20. She's glorious. So if you've got pens like Pilot Varsities, I don't really care about these. I just throw them around, toss them in my bag, don't really care. But for pens that are expensive or I like and want to keep safe, then some sort of sleeve, if you've just got one or that's all you want. You can do multiple sleeves. So this will hold 3. If I can separate it, that'll hold 3. You can get pen rolls. You can get ones that zip up instead of just put them in. There's so many options. You can get like folios and stuff to put pens in. This one is one of my favorites. But if you're vegan, not so much because it is not vegan friendly, that one. Yeah, you can get so many different fountain pen sleeve case things. I really like this one. This one is vegan friendly. It is fake leather. It is from Leonardo. Didn't really want to focus there. It's hard to do on that color. This is a glorious, like deep, rich purple. I adore it. But yeah, this is fake leather, so good to go. It just ended up on the floor. So what is the next essential? Well, the next essential is something that really is part of the Holy Trinity. So the Holy Trinity is what I consider. Oh, where did it go? I just didn't want to roll over it with much air. The Holy Trinity is pen, ink, and in the comment section, come on. That's right. Paper. Pen, ink, and paper. So tons of options. This is a Clairefontaine notebook, spiral bound. I was testing out a bunch of different papers and stuff to what I wanted to take to school, and I knew I had to take some math courses and pharmacology courses, so I thought I'd get graph. Turns out I really hate graph paper. I really do. You can get like small notebooks. This is Tomoe River paper. It is amazing. You can get regular like A5 notebooks. You can get all kinds of sizes. The whole point is that you're getting fountain pen friendly paper. So if you are to use regular paper that you can get just from like your regular like Hilroy, like paper that you've been using at school this whole time, you're gonna have a bad experience. That ink is gonna feather out, which means like when you put the ink on the paper, it's just gonna go. So you want a line that looks like this, but then it ends up looking like this. It's gonna bleed through the other side. It's just gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. So Clairefontaine is really nice. This is 90. So the weight of the paper is really what you're kind of looking at. This is 90 grams. Tomoe River paper is really amazing. It's kind of the goat. It's 52 grams, which is ironic because most of the time if you use 52 and anything else, it's going to be disgusting. But Tomoe River is a special exception. This is amazing. The Tomoe River paper is my 10 out of 10 gold star when it comes to paper, but not everyone likes it because it tends to be thin, even in the larger size, which is like the 62 or something like that, instead of the 52, 64, 68, I don't know. But even that one shows a little bit on the other side. And some people also do find it a little bit slippery, which I find kind of funny because in my opinion, Clairefontaine paper feels slipperier than Tomoe River paper in the way that my experience is, but I don't like it as much. It doesn't show the ink properties as much. It is slightly more absorbent than Tomoe River paper, so you lose a little bit of the sheen, shimmer, shade, whatever it is you're looking for in the ink. But it's also more expensive. It's one of the most expensive papers you can buy. So, just experiment. I recommend picking up a bunch of different papers that you can. Use multiple pens, nibs, and inks on those papers because they're kind of wildly different. You wouldn't think that a pen and ink and paper would matter in all of the contexts that it does, but it does. I have made a couple videos, I think, in the history of the fountain pen channel here, talking about the Holy Trinity and all of the permutations that you can find. It's crazy. It is crazy. So, are there more essentials? Sure, you can get more essentials, but I don't consider them like super essentials. So, for example, silicone grease. Silicone grease is amazing. It helps you lube up some pieces. So if you've got like pistons that are starting to become a little bit difficult to move up and down, I throw a little silicone grease around that piston. Bob's your uncle. She works like new. You can get like kind of like jelly style, or if you do buy Twisbees, they will also send you more liquefied silicone grease. As long as it's 100% silicone grease and it's not mixed with anything funky, you're good to go. You can Use them to convert your pens if you're feeling fancy, by filling up the body of the pen instead of just like the converter. Silicone grease, and ideally also an O-ring around the threads. Make it waterproof. So this could be considered an essential, but I don't consider it, I don't consider it the essential. Can you tell I just finished my coffee? Because you don't really need it in order to enjoy the fountain pen life. Do you really need a case? Not technically. But if you're taking your stuff anywhere and it breaks, you can't use your fountain pen anymore. So kind of essential. The ability to clean your pen, kind of essential. You know, it's kind of on that border. So there's lots of things, there's lots of things you could consider essentials, but this is just what my brain thinks is truly essential. Paper, ink samples, because it's going to make your life a lot easier, and cleaning supplies. Those are ultimately my essentials. Let me know in the comment section down below what your essentials are, what your ride or dies are. I'm going to go clean up this ink bottle. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'm going to try and make at least one video a week now while school is kicking my bahooties. Right now, I currently have a 95 average in all of my classes. I'm trying really hard to keep it, but I mean, I know I won't. Physiology is going to kick my butt, so it's the hard sciences. So yeah, definitely hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment, do all the things. Check out the link in my description to support me on Patreon if you can. Otherwise, there's always some super thanks there if you don't want to do Patreon. Anyways, appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.